So the question is, what moves you measurably closer to your goals? And the only way to really answer that is by making a plan beforehand. You want to make a step-by-step plan for your major goals, and getting through that plan is what you do during your pre-scheduled time. And something else that's really important is you want to make sure that everything on that plan is really getting you measurably closer, because a lot of the time we put steps on there that don't move us in a straight line forward, but they move us just a little bit forward, but a lot to the left or the right, just tangentially, so to speak. And you really want to demand a 10x return on every step you put on your plan. And by the way, your plan could change, it could expand, but you really just want to have something to start with. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to make goals for your week, just so you have certain milestones to hit every week. The way I do this is I have a friend, we talk every week. We're very much on the same wavelength, working on similar things, and we have our little mastermind session then. And at the end of it, we share our goals for the week. So that's the time that I set my goals for the week and write it down. And the third component to really planning what you want to do are daily to-dos. So you have your overall plan, you have your goals for the week, just the milestones that you want to hit to move you closer, and also you want daily to-dos. And here's the shocker as far as your daily to-do list. Ideally, it should be only one thing. The more things it is, that means the smaller things you are working on, and the less likely any of those things are 10x things. And if you have to do a bunch of small things, that's fine. But first pick the one thing that really is going to pay you the return, and do all those smaller things at the end of the day. You see, you've probably heard of the 80-20 principle, that 80% of your results come from 20% of the things that you do. But you could even take that further and just demand, what is the one thing that I can do today that will give me the biggest return? You see, Gary Keller talks about this in his book, The One Thing, and he says to ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do such that doing it will make everything else unnecessary? Or another way you can ask yourself the same thing is, what's the one thing I could do such that doing it will give me the highest return for the time invested? That really is the question to determine what is on your quote-unquote to-do list. And while we're on the topic, there's something else I want to share with you, which is probably the most important thing I can share with you as far as time management goes. You see, the reason it seems like there isn't enough time to do everything you want to do isn't because there is so much to do. The reality is that time management could be so easy that you would have too much free time you wouldn't know what to do with. So why does it seem like there is never enough time to do the things you want to do? And ironically, the answer is laziness or avoidance of fear. It's like Robert Kiyosaki, the #1 New York Times bestselling author, said. He said that staying busy is laziness because you stay busy to avoid something you don't want to face. Or Tim Ferriss adds on to this idea by saying that instead of focusing on the 2 or 3 things we need to do that would make us productive or contribute to our goals, we invent things to do to keep us busy. So busy that there isn't enough time left for those 2 or 3 things we should do, the things you don't want to face. The solution then, according to Tim Ferriss, is to ask yourself frequently, am I inventing things to do to avoid the important? Or as Randy Pausch, the famous professor at Carnegie Mellon, said in his lecture on time management, asking yourself, do I really need to do this? You want to catch yourself avoiding the important and stop being lazy, and you'll create way more free time and get way more done. So when it comes to making a plan, when it comes to your weekly goals and your daily to-do list, I want you to keep this in mind. I really want you to think about what are the 2 or 3 things that will really contribute, that will move me in a straight line toward my goals. And also keep in mind that often these things push us out of our comfort zone. They're uncomfortable. They're things that we might fail at. And that's why we don't want to face them. But if you really want to be productive, if you really want to achieve your goals, not only in the shortest amount of time possible, but maybe ever, then you're going to have to face these things. So you really want to keep this in mind when making your plans. So really think about this and really try to organize what you work on by first having plans, having week goals, and also having daily to-dos, and ideally focusing on only one and if need be two things.